It's a 3-hour and 37-minute flight from Pittsburgh to Salt Lake City, and I just wasted 3 hours and 37 minutes. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Sharks 2, Penguins 1. Look, you probably didn't stay up to watch it. It's definitely just as well. I have one thing to share, one statistic to share from that game against that opponent, and that's that the Penguins were outshot 13-4 in the second period. And I'm sorry, there's nowhere to go with that. There's no had an off night. There's no, hey, the other guys were really feeling it. There's no, hey, we got goal lead. The Sharks had lost 9 out of 10. The Sharks had given up 24 goals in their previous 4 games. And then they outshoot you 13-4 in a second period of a tight game that meant absolutely nothing to the other side. Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Penguins are 20, 24, and 8 now. In a figure I haven't updated in far too long. The Penguins have a minus 40 goal differential. That is the worst in the Eastern Conference by a factor of 2. In other words, the Sabres have a minus 20, and they have the second worst. That goal differential happens to be the third worst in the entire league. You'll never guess who has the worst. That's right, pal. That would be your Sharks. 15, 32, and 6. What do we want to talk about? Switching up some lines, tinkering with the power play. Who might come back from injury or who's missing? What is there? I have a game here to cover tomorrow night at the Delta Center. It's about a block and a half from where I'm staying right now. And my thinking in putting together this trip was, I would come out for the end, help out Taylor Haas, our beat writer. She did the middle 5 games of the trip. I did Buffalo, and I'm doing this one. And all right, let's wrap up the trip. Let's see how the team stands afterward. It's not just that they've lost 3 in a row since that ridiculously awesome game in Los Angeles. It's not just that. It's not the results. It's the how. And within the how, it's the why. I can't fathom what could have been going through their hockey heads to have a second period like that last night. I can't grasp looking at a lot of the names on that roster and knowing what they've achieved as individuals, but also collectively, and figuring out what they're thinking. Do they know that they're done? Do they know that this is all a waste of time? Do they care? Do they see this thing as being just about as futile as probably everybody else on the outside has to see it? You have to. You have to. The math is punching you in the face at this point. Try it this way. The Lightning and the Blue Jackets are at 55 points. Okay? Tied right there. Penguins are at 48. The Penguins have 4 games that they've played more than the Lightning have. The Blue Jackets have played 2 fewer games. The Canadians, who are right behind them at 53 points, you see what I mean? And then there's the whole pack. I just mentioned a couple of teams, but in between those couple of teams and the Penguins are a handful of others. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. And this game here in Utah, the first one the Penguins will ever play here, means not a thing other than that minor historical footnote. Not a thing. There's nowhere to go with this. Kyle Dubas he doesn't have a decision to make. He describes the NHL trade deadline as when the decisions are coming. There are no decisions to make. And maybe individually you can say, all right, do you really want to get rid of Rickard Rakell to boost up your prospects, or do you want to move Brian Rust, or do you want to even get really crazy and start moving or talking about moving Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang? Okay, those are decisions. Trade offers that come in, those are decisions. Those players, were they to go on the open market, would be the hottest commodities. I have no doubt of this on the entire market, particularly now that Mikko Rantanen's been moved. So who goes? Where do they go? And for whom do they go? For what do they go? That's it. That's your suspense. It's not Penguins versus Utah Club tomorrow night. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Raymond, who, in lieu of an actual question, just writes, DK, this is just the end. It's the end, plain and simple. I look at these Penguins with love still because of what they've accomplished and how lucky we were to have had almost 2 full decades of really good hockey and 3 Stanley Cup championships on 4 trips to the final. It's still sad, yes, but I'm still thankful. You know what, dude? That is the healthiest attitude you're going to hear from anybody on this subject. I feel like one thing that there is to bear in mind through all of this is that Sidney Patrick Crosby's still on the roster, and he's going to continue to be on the roster. He's made that commitment, and he is anything but the type to renege on a commitment. He's going to be with the Penguins in one form or another. If and when, I should say, you see the Penguins start moving major pieces to bring in young players, the one thing I believe that you can count on from Kyle Dubas is that they're going to be in the ready for the NHL category. They're not going to be, children still playing in caves in Finland. They're going to be real live, like 21, 22-year-old guys who are either the types that have already had a taste in the NHL, kind of like the Vasily Ponomarev and Ville Koivunen, who were acquired in the Jake Gensel trade, like in that range. But also, draft picks and other stuff that you can use for a lot of different reasons in a lot of different ways. And it's going to be done in a form that fits Sid being here next year and the year after that, and however long he intends to play. He would not be the first older player to captain a team to playoff success, leading a group of younger guys to playoff success, leading them to maybe the next stage, the next great stage of the Penguins, if you'll forgive me getting a little bit dramatic on a pretty lousy day for the franchise. Think about what 66 did when he came back. Everyone jokes about that X Generation team and the Rico Fata and the Dick Tarnstroms and so forth. Mario was on that team. Don't forget, at the beginning of the year, Mario was part of that. And part of what Mario wanted to do, of course, he wanted to win another cup for himself. But he said so at the time that he, especially once Sid came along, that he wanted to help the franchise move up to the next level. Now, of course, he had a literal financial investment in doing so, but you get the idea. Sid can be part of that. Sid can lead that. But yeah, it's not going to be anybody's idea of a picnic. I appreciate the question, or whatever that was. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins, and we'll be back with another one of these from here in lovely Salt Lake City, Utah, home of a really big hockey game tomorrow night.